We want to be able to fetch our data before the user is able to access the event list root. And in order to do that, we can use a very useful property which is named resolve. And the location where we use our property is inside our config in the app.js, and specifically when it comes to routing. The root provider offers resolve as one of the additional properties we can set. And the way it works for our manager controller will be resolve. We have to type resolve followed by the list of functions, or better, the list of promises that need to be resolved before the root will be changed. So as long as not all of the promises are resolved, the user won't be able to see the new screen. So this prevents us from seeing weird behaviors where the user will access the event list with no data whatsoever. After typing resolve, I will open my usual brackets, and then we'll define the data that we want to return. So we'll call it initial data, and that will be a function. And what this function will do? Well, it will return the result of what? Of our event factory dot get all events, right? And that's it. What we need to do as well is to inject the factory, so event factory, so we're sure that it's available, and we can save our app.js. Now, this initial data that we have defined will be injectable to our controller. So we can go back to our event manager controller, add a new dependency, so that will be our initial data. Now, instead of calling event factory.getAllEvents then and so on, we can refactor this code and just make an assignment. So event list equals initial data. So let's see if what I've done is just right, and let's see what happens to our page as well. So I'll start from the main page, so I'm not in manage events, and when I click on that, as you can see, the code has been retrieved, our promise is being resolved, and we have our data. Nice, no? And if I refresh my page, you'll notice that the data will be immediately there before the user gets the page back, before everything is rendered. So in your resolve property, you can define all the data that needs to be set before the user gets access to a particular page, before their root gets returned. And as well, you can make additional checks. So if you need to check if the user has the permission to see the page, for example, because of course, if the promise gets rejected, the user won't be able to access the page. All right. That's pretty much it for the resolve property. That's its basic usage, and I let you guys experiment with that. So in the next lesson, we're going to discuss what a $Q service is.